My name is Gary McGilly, high school practice leader for the Leader of Me. We're extremely excited to be launching our very first teen leadership series entitled QuaranTEENed. Today's episode is called Back to School. Team?
Hey guys, today we're just talking about how we're going to prepare to get back to school. Just kind of want to get y'all's take on how you guys are preparing to go back and what are you going to incorporate, what are you going to do in order to go back to school safely?
For me, I would say just make sure I'm wearing my mask, I'm bringing hand sanitizer, I'm being mindful of others, and just being really open-minded about going back to school, especially being senior in this situation. Like, I'm just going to take what I can get.
I think that when going back to school, it's important to educate ourselves on what all the new guidelines and procedures will be. There's going to be an adjustment process, and so it's not going to be the same as what we're used to as students. And so just being aware, like Hannah was saying, of your surroundings and knowing that things aren't going to be the same, I think you kind of have to mentally prepare for that on your own and just be aware that things won't be the same, and so you're going to have to adapt to that change.
Yeah, definitely. Like going along with Braden, how he's talking about the guidelines, I think that we also have to take it seriously and not just let it go over our head and really think about how important it is and how we're going back to school when there's millions of cases as opposed to us getting out of school when there are only a few thousand. So we have to take everything super seriously in order to get back to a more normal situation.
Right, because if we don't take it seriously, we might never ever get to another sense of normalcy. So we have to think about the greater good in the future. So we don't have to keep going through this process of shutting down, opening up, when we can go ahead and get it done and over with. So what do you guys think are some benefits or maybe some cons with going back to school, and how do you guys feel about that?
I think that one really good benefit, or at least a pro that I can think of, is getting back into a real classroom. I know for a lot of people, it was really difficult to adjust to learning virtually online. And a lot of us are still everybody's school situation is different. And so some of us might have to still continue to do that in some capacity. But at least to an extent, being back in a real classroom, I think is really going to help a lot of students connect with their teachers on from a personal level, and kind of start to build those relationships up again with your fellow students and with the faculty and staff at your school. And I think learning in person is just it's a lot easier, and you can take in a lot of information a lot better. And so I think that's one benefit of going back.
Yeah, I agree. And I think another benefit is getting to just kind of do what you want to do and kind of what you love to do again, like sports and extracurriculars. I know personally, my favorite extracurriculars, I was going to state and it got canceled. So to be back in that environment, I'm super excited for that. But with that, there's a con, which is not necessarily being the same. So we may not go to state again or for the next few years. And of course, I'm about to be a sophomore, so I've got a few years to hope that it'll go back to normal, but others don't. So that is a con about how things are going to be changing and how they're probably going to, a lot of the conventions that we go to, like Beta Convention, states and nationals, everything, a lot of that's probably going to be online now. So that is a con.
Another con, like what Nyla said, but another con is that we still have, depending on your situation in school and stuff, we still have that chance of possibly contracting COVID and raising the numbers, but you really want to try your best to decrease the numbers.
Sure. I think one benefit would definitely, like Braden was saying, the teacher-student involvement, because not every school was used to online learning. For instance, my school, we've never done that. We've always either gone to school or we had a snow day. So it was something that was completely new that everybody, the teachers, the students, everybody had to adjust to. So now that we've got some stuff under our belt, we experienced it a little bit, we'll hopefully be able to come back and better improve it. And especially with being in person, we'll have more of a better experience. what is some advice you could give to your fellow like classmates, like before coming back to school? What is one piece of advice you could give?
I would say just stay open-minded and really just try to be compliant with the guidelines and rules that your school sets for you.
I think definitely before we go back, to take care of yourself too and prepare for what's going to be different and prepare for the change, because this is going to be like a different first day than we've ever had before. So like Hannah was saying, you've got to listen to the guidelines, you got to pay attention, but you definitely have to mentally prepare yourself too, because it is going to be a big change.
Yeah, I would remind all of my fellow students and anybody going back to school really is like just to remember to be proactive with the decisions that you're making when you're going back to school. We've talked about it, and Hannah was mentioning it before, but like doing simple things as easy as like remembering to bring hand sanitizer can make a big difference in the long run. And like Dylan was saying, we don't want to have this continuous loop, this continuous cycle of going to school and having to shut down and come home. Like we don't want to be trapped in this timeline forever. You know, we want to move forward, and the best way to do that is to be proactive and to make the smartest decisions, while at the same time trying to go back to normal and whatever that may look like. And so just remembering those things and being open-minded when you go back to school to that it may look differently, that's really important.
Right. I think, yeah, the biggest thing is just for everybody is just the willingness to adapt and just not think about ourselves personally, but those around us, because there might be some students that are higher risk than others, and they might have households that are more at risk than others. So we just have to be conscientious of not only ourselves, but those around us as well. And our staff, like our cafeteria, our teachers as well. It's not just students we have to think about. It's everybody in the building that could be possibly affected. So we have to take that into consideration. Gary, would you mind summing this up for us?
I would love to. Once again, appreciate the rich discussions here. Summarizing some of the great points I heard. One is having this willingness to adapt. We know things are going to be different, so I think we need to be. Secondly, I heard to be open-minded. Come in here and look at things differently, and then the last piece about making proactive decisions. I like that language coming in. It really is leadership, isn't it? Making these proactive choices. You talked about, the wearing the mask, being prepared with hand sanitizer, social distancing, just doing all the guidelines that the experts are saying this is what we should be doing. And once again, we've been saying in every session, the key to everything is modeling. So I'm hearing you guys say, let's model these behaviors, and hopefully we're not going to get shut down again if we do this. So really, really important discussion. Appreciate you guys sharing your wisdom again. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a safe week, my friends. Thank you so much. Take care.